Yes, and she is, what is she now? She's a fascist, a Nazi, Hitlerian, a eugenicist. Oh, wait a minute, they're calling her a Democrat then, right? I mean, and then they're the Margaret Sanger Award people. They are the eugenicists in the United States of America. Their malignancy combined with their ignorance is a potent combination. Might need a good hosing down. These people. Can I say these people? I think I can say these people. Well, a very good hump day to you, and welcome back once again. I think we all know what Hillary Clinton's doing today. That's right, waking up face down in a pool of her own dried vomit on the linoleum kitchen floor of yet another multi-million-dollar mansion secured with their corrupt money. They're corrupt. They get it from Russia because Russia funneled them a bunch of money. And that's why they're going around. That's part of why they're going around accusing everybody of being a Russian asset. Russian, like Tulsi Gabbard, a 20-year elected Democrat, calling her a Russian asset. That would make sense. But then she left the Democrat Party. Well, everybody's a Russian, except for the Democrats. Isn't it amazing that it's the old Russian playbook? Whatever they accuse you of, it's what they are actually doing. That was, of course, an actress by the name of Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney. She was in that Handmaid's Tale thing that the Democrats are so fond of. God, they're crazy about that, aren't they? They've got a lot of mental issues, I don't know if there are enough pharmaceuticals in the world for the Democrat Party and the things that they're suffering from, but I guess we'll find out soon enough. Thanks to Obamacare, because they fixed health care, didn't they? And then last night on my television show on Newsmax, there's one liberal on the panel. It's a panel discussion. One liberal, he's like, yeah, well, we can't be spending money on tax breaks for billionaires or something like that, some Democrat talking point. Because what about health care for all the people that, I was like, didn't you guys just turn the world upside down and, pull the economic sock inside out to give us Obamacare? And now you're screaming in our faces again that we need to fix health care that you just fixed, you people. Amazing. But back to this Sydney Sweeney. She's an actress lady, and she's doing a TV commercial for American Eagle. American Eagle makes clothing, and they have jeans. The jeans are blue cotton denim jeans, and she's an attractive woman, so she wears tight jeans and walks away from the camera, pulling them tight around her buttocks, I think it would be fair to say. And the Democrat said, and she said, oh, my gosh, jeans, good jeans. And she is talking about her blue jeans, right? Jeans. And then on MSDNC, she does talk about having blue eyes because they're looking at her and you're supposed to think, oh, she's a pretty girl. I'm going to buy those jeans because an actress is wearing the jeans. It's been going on for a long time. I think going back to Brooke Shields and, various Kardashians. And do they actually wear clothes in those things, the Kardashians? It's hard to say. But I should say it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. And remarkable things. And now the Democrats, they're on MSDN. They brought a professor on. She's a college professor. And she said, oh, yeah, this is reminiscent of eugenics. I'm like, well, wait a minute. You guys are the party of eugenics. You guys are the party of, whacking babies like they're harp seals. You guys are, except they love harp seals. They think harp seals make nice mittens and hats, by the way. I don't know how tasty they are, but they have nice fur. All right, I digress, though. And the craziness of these people, they're screaming at her that she's a fascist. It's fascist propaganda. She has blonde hair. She has blue eyes. Sure, just like Hitler, who didn't, but that's okay. And then eugenics, and Margaret Sanger. I actually brought in a list today of all of the Margaret Sanger awards that Planned Parenthood has given out. And I was looking everywhere for a Republican, anywhere in there, or an attractive blonde woman. And they're winning. They gave one to Jane Fonda. She looked good in Barbarella. That was like 1959 or something like that. But never mind. Her husband was directing. But never mind that. Roger Vadim, I think it was. But never mind all of that. And they gave one to Hillary Clinton. She's got blonde hair. Does she have blue eyes? I don't think so. Although she is Aryan in her orientation. So we've got that. I want to update you on this because this is the Democrat Party. It's fascist propaganda. It's the Nazis. It's Hitler. It's eugenics. And you guys, the Socialist Workers Party of Adolf Hitler, And a lie told once remains a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. That's the Democrat Party playbook. And they explained to us several years ago during the during the Obama administration, during a congressional hearing, they had one of their left-wing clown ladies say, "Oh, it's the Russian playbook that somebody's using. Whatever they accuse you of is what they're doing themselves." She kind of gave away the store there. It's what the Democrats live and breathe to do. Remarkable stuff. Speaking of which, the man-groper, Democrat Senator Cory Booker, a radical shaved head extremist from New Jersey, he was screaming and yelling on Capitol Hill yesterday on the Senate floor. Screaming and yelling, very angry, very, very angry man. I don't know if he took any time out to pin a young man against the wall and grope his genitals, as he's been known to do in the past. Senator Cory Booker. It's good to be a Democrat, isn't it? Just wonderful. But he was going crazy, and the Democrats and gun legislation, they must oppose everything Trump does because they murdered bipartisanship like the eugenicists that they are. They're dead set against bipartisanship because they're the left. They're not liberals. They're the left. MSDNC was very fond of what Cory Booker did because they want more people shot, the Democrat Party. Go get your guns because the Democrats are coming. And you saw the racist mob attack on the streets in Cincinnati, Ohio, of all places. And the Democrats are all like, "Oh, no, it's just a school fight. It's a bar fight. It's not. No, it's 12 black people stomping nearly to death a white man and then knocking out a white woman. And they're not kids. They're not 20 years old. They're grown-ups. They're adults. And being stomped into the ground by these savage criminal racists." And the liberal on Newsmax last night is like, "Oh, there's no racial component to this. There's nothing to see here." It's like, yeah, if you flipped the races, there'd be riots from coast to coast happening right now, and that'd be what we'd be talking about here on the radio and on Newsmax last night on the television. The riots would be the big story. But the street violence, the racist attack by a black mob beating the living hell out of a white guy who's on the ground, and people are jumping and stomping on his head. Some woman who looks like she might be, not an inexpensive street prostitute, but looks like a street prostitute, all outward signs. And she went running in to stomp on the man's head while he's on the ground after like 11 men beat him senseless. And this woman went in to stomp on his head. Somebody grabbed her by the hair to pull her back, and this 2.5-foot-long wig was pulled off her head. It was like an NBA game. Speaking of which, is he at another NBA game? So they had the pull off the wig thing. We did that on our Newsmax show last night too. The WNBA. People actually go to those games. Not many, but and then a bunch of them got kicked out. They got kicked out of the WNBA game because somebody was making fun of a WNBA player who was running around, and her wig fell off. And she grabbed her wig and ran into the locker room to reattach her wig, and then came out. And then people made fun of her. They said things to make fun of her. And then the security came and threw out the people that made fun of her because she's a girl, and you can't make fun of girls in fake professional sports that are being subsidized by the real NBA. But never mind that. They pay us what we're worth. You're actually getting more than you're worth. I don't know if you've seen, the money you bring in, but never mind that. Amazing stuff. And so that got thrown out. And the question last night was, how do you avoid being thrown out of a WNBA game? And the answer to that is simple, isn't it? Isn't it, Michael? What's the answer to that? Don't go to a WNBA game and then you can't be thrown out of a Do what everybody else does and don't go to a WNBA game. What is it? There might be a high school game being played nearby. Probably be better. And less lunacy, less stupidity. We got that. And then last night at another WNBA game, there was another incident where someone, I can't say who, threw out onto the basketball court a bright, kind of day-glow green, how shall I refer to the item in question, a rubberized marital aid, a marital aid. It was an artificial phallus thrown out onto the basketball court, and that caused a bit of a hubbub, too. And then I think there were more people thrown out there, right, because of the rubber buddy. There's a rubber buddy. Rubber buddy, you're the one the one that makes my bath time fun. And so that the WNBA, they're making headlines, but not for any good reasons. They're not really they're not to be taken seriously. It's not a real professional sport. It's just a DEI. It should be the WDEI, the Women's Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Basketball League, the WDEI BL. Does that sound dirty in any way or anything like that? Isn't that amazing? Also, I was watching, because it's what I do. I watch a lot of stuff. When my best girl and we came home from Iceland, we got home late on Sunday night, about midnight. We got to our homes and to our home, singular, and then in the morning I watched, which I never do, Good Morning America. Have you ever heard of that show? ABC has a television show. It's called Good Morning America. They don't mean it, of course. They disdain America. Haktui. It should be called Haktui America. And they had this thing, and they were talking about that terrible orange man who has created a trade deal with Europe, and they were very upset because bourgeois Manhattanites that they are, they said, oh no, this could make our poulet poussé more expensive. It could make what? Yeah, champagne from the Champagne region of France. The rest is just sparkling wine. And they're pouring a bottle of Louis Roederer champagne, which I believe is the house brand at Four Seasons Hotels. Four Seasons Hotels. And they're Louis Roederer, they're pouring, and they're like, oh no, the champagne, the price of champagne could go up. And they talk about French wines, the price could go up. Then they showed BMWs, the automobiles made by the Germans, the Bavarian Motor Works. They produced machinery for the Nazis. Back to the Nazis again. There they are, BMWs. In fact, the logo of a BMW, the blue, it's a circle with the blue and white quarters, right? And that is apparently representative of the propeller on the Nazi airplane that they built during World War II. That's the symbol on your BMW. And ABC, Good Morning America, Haktui America, they're very upset. They're like, oh no, Trump could make BMWs and Louis Roederer champagne more expensive. And what else did they have in there? Oh, what the one? Oh, yeah, Chanel number 5. Chanel number 5 was the other one. They couldn't be more bushy. It was like a Saturday Night Live satire of a bushy news report. Bushy bourgeois. Pretty amazing stuff. Yeah, and I got that for you. I wanted to get to that yesterday. I wasn't able to because too many crazy Democrat things. But the trade deal with President Trump struck with the European Union, they just call it the EU, even though that sounds like, a urinary tract infection that can be cured with antibiotics or something. Oh, you have EU? You have that? Yeah, well, here, this ought to do it for you. The big pharma and the patriarchy, they've got the cure for that now, your EU. Very amazing stuff. The frauds at ABC Fake News, they're all Democrats. They come from, Democrat Party politics for the most part. So we got a little bit of that for you, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And be afraid, be very afraid. As extreme heat warnings are issued, experts warn of deadly consequences. That's ABC News again, ABC Fake News again. Aren't they amazing? And I love this because they got to expand their global warming terror. The Washington Post today, they said, I look at the weather report there because it makes me laugh. Makes me laugh like a clown. 98 degrees today, they say in Washington, D.C., but it's going to, the real feel, how a lot of them, like Mark Halperin, they love that real feel, and Andrew Cuomo at that real, Joe Biden with children, real feel. They say the real feel is 106 degrees. So your thermometer is going to miss by 8 degrees today. We should really just do away with thermometers and go to Democrats for the temperature, because they can stand outside and say the real feel is 100. They can do it ahead of time. They don't even have to wait. They've got the real feel projected already for the rest of the week. Tomorrow it's going to be 95, the high is 95, but it's going to feel like 107, which means tomorrow your thermometer is going to miss the mark by 12 degrees. What good is a thermometer if it's going to be wrong, if it's going to be 12 degrees off of the real feel? And the Washington Post has it right here. 12 degrees your thermometer is going to miss by tomorrow. Isn't that amazing? The Democrats are racists. The Democrats are violent. The Democrats are anti-police. Oh, and they got this very stupid, ought-to-be-fired police chief in Cincinnati, too. You hear this, woman? Honestly, people are raising questions on the internet like, should women really be police officers after watching this woman? Forget about police chiefs. Should they, be maybe dispatchers? Maybe so. I just saw that on the internet. Just saying. We're at 888-630-9625. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. And we're back. Hillary Clinton is not face down in a pool of her own dried vomit today. All right, Michael, let's take a telephonic call and speak to the nice people. Let's go to Pat, calling from Fairfax, Virginia. Patrick, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Pat.
Long-time listener. I've called several times. I was in the Army in the early 70s.
Uh-huh.
I was a medic at West Point. And we do the heat index hourly for the cadets while they were training outside in July. So there's the three things: shade temperature, wet bulb, and regular temperature. And you do your gazintas, gives you a number. And if it went to a certain number, I don't remember the index, they wouldn't train. That's what we used it for. Had nothing to do with people being outside. It had to do with your physical activity.
Well, and you mentioned shade. I was talking to a friend about this yesterday. Should there be a different measure being used by the Washington Post when it comes to being in the shade versus being in the direct sunlight?
Well, that's what we did. I don't know what they're doing. I can't, vouch for that.
Right. Well, how do you like this? You're a man of science and a proud Army officer and medical professional. And they're saying tomorrow already in the Washington Post, they know how hot it's going to feel like. They say the high is going to be 95 degrees Fahrenheit, but the real feel will be 107. So your thermometer is no good at all. It's going to miss by 12 degrees.
Yeah, I hear you. There's no way to know that till tomorrow, I guess. But I was a enlisted guy, a medic. I was a enlisted specialist. So that was a factor that we figured based on hourly rate. I mean, 1 hour it might be too high. The next hour it might be okay. So there's no way to know tomorrow without taking a shade, a wet bulb, and one outside and do your gazintas. Like I said, I don't remember the formula.
That is great. That's wonderful. You remind me of Mike McKay, our former board op here, who was a U.S. Army medic in the Vietnam War, enlisted, a great American. Yeah, so tomorrow, I'm already terrified of the weather tomorrow. Yeah, the WNBA, the Women's National Basketball Association, and their alleged games and lately the hijinks. Can you say hijinks? The hijinks on the basketball court have been more interesting, more fun, and getting more attention than their actual play. The state of play in all of that. Isn't that amazing? And I do love the fake heat thing. And I love Pat. Pat, wonderful. U.S. Army, enlisted. I assume that he was attending West Point. He was a medic at West Point in the 1970s, and talked about the the method that the Army had for assessing and dealing with the heat and the health of the West Point people, and it's good stuff. And now they've changed it all because now you see the weather is combined with Democrat Party politics, just like gender has been combined with Democrat Party politics. Race has been combined with Democrat Party politics. Math, numbers, and the national debt and their debts and their deficits versus Donald Trump's economy, combined with Democrat Party politics, because they politicize everything from your breakfast cereal to the air that we breathe to the great ball of fire in the sky that we call the sun, which might have some say in the temperature more even than your four-cylinder automobile, if you can imagine. Imagine such a thing. Isn't that amazing? But that's crazy stuff. And again, I think, well, I'm looking at it every day. I don't know if I'm going to bring it in every day, but I do find it entertaining. And I'm so terrified because today the Washington Post says it'll be 98 degrees in Washington, Fahrenheit, according to your thermometer. But the real feel will be 106 degrees. So that is your thermometer being wrong by 8 degrees. And the Democrats upping the alleged temperature with the new metric that they use, and that is the political feel. From the gropey McGrope phase, pound me too, people. What happened to pound me too? I kind of miss pound me too. Where did that go? Did it go to New Zealand with Matt Lauer to his multi-thousand-acre ranch there that he flew a private jet to get to, even though he's gropey McGrope face, and never mind that. But tomorrow, even better, Pound Me Too may come back because, they say it's going to be 95 degrees tomorrow, 98 degrees today, so 3 degrees cooler. But they say the real feel is going to be even higher than today, because today it's 98 degrees, the thermometer says. 106 degrees, the Washington Post says. Tomorrow, 95 degrees, 3 degrees cooler, but 107 degrees, which is higher than 106 degrees. I know there are Democrats listening along, though. 107 degrees. So that means that your thermometer is going to be wrong by 12 degrees tomorrow. And they can predict this in the future. 12 degrees. Now, what good is a thermometer? Would you use a thermometer, to put in your 3-year-old's mouth under his tongue, hopefully, with a little glass thermometer? Oh, well, we'll use the thermometer, but it's off by 12 degrees. Would you use that? Because, look, his temperature is 90 degrees under his tongue with the glass thermometer, but it's wrong by 12 degrees, so it's really 102. The temperature is really 102. I don't think we'd use that thermometer, would we? We'd get rid of that. We'd get something else. But this is the Democrat Party politicizing the weather and the temperature and the air. They've politicized the water. They politicize everything there. And, of course, genitalia and gender. How many genders are there? It's like how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Nobody knows. It's never been tried, except in San Francisco, where I think they came up with 112 genders, and they were giving out free money with it. Everybody got $1,200 a month if you laid claim to being one of these other manufactured mental illness genders that the Democrats so admire. Aren't they amazing? Yes, they are. Completely nuts. Now, because this is what I do, I look at this stuff, and I'm sorry, Michael, I know I said I was going to go to this, and then I started going to that, and here I go again. There he goes again, as the great Ronald Wilson Reagan used to say. But here is ABC Fake News, ABC Fake News. And ABC Fake News has a headline today because it's all about the panic, and always the panic. You got to freak out about something all the time. The Democrats have decided the weather, the temperature, and they'll invent new methods for telling you what the weather is. They're in charge. Information dominance. Got fake news, fake weather, and fake sports tonight at 11. And here's the ABC News, the network, headline today. As extreme heat warnings are issued, experts warn of deadly consequences. So they have in the headline, they have warnings and warn and deadly and consequences. That's just the headline. And then it really gets dire and scary. Isn't that amazing? As much as the U.S. braces for extreme heat, statistics show 2,000 die from it annually. Really? Well, the Democrats shoot and kill like 10,000 black people every year. Maybe that should be a story of some interest. Extreme heat is the deadliest weather-related hazard in the United States. That's the subheadline from ABC Fake News. As extreme heat is forecast across much of the U.S. this week, health departments across the country are warning people to take steps to survive. They got warning and survive. The potentially deadly weather. It's potentially deadly. It's survive. It's warning. It's all quite hysterical. It's summertime. I remember we used to call this Summertime. And we'd do songs about it, and it was great. Under the boardwalk, we'll be having some fun. It'd be really great. The latest CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC's, but we abbreviate everything, and you have to speak the Washington Code in all things. The latest CDC statistics show that 150 heat-related deaths have already occurred in the United States in 2025. But we're, it's the end of July. August is right around. So that wouldn't be 2,000 a year. That'd be like 300 a year, if that. Probably less than that. But the data is only partially tabulated due to delays in reporting. Probably Trump's fault. I'm guessing that must be Trump's fault because he doesn't care about human life or funding Planned Parenthood. You know how they are. During the previous 2 years, more than 4,800 heat-related U.S. deaths were recorded. But that doesn't match with the 150 heat-related deaths so far this year. That doesn't. And here we are at the end of July. August is about to begin. It's going to be a hot month, too, because it always has been. And we can predict that. So since 2020, there have been at least 9,436 heat-related deaths across the nation, the CDC reported. Now, it's pretty amazing. The CDC statistics show that the number of heat-related deaths increased from 1,156 in 2020 to 2,415 in 2023, before slightly declining to 2,394 last year. Now, ABC News can take this fake reporting and stuff it because it's just politics. Here's the Los Angeles Times. They're getting in on the action, the Democrat Party propaganda. A lie told once remains a lie. Lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. July, here's the LA Times. July is the worst month for drug overdose deaths. Wait a minute, drug overdose deaths? Is heat to blame? I can answer that question. No. Drug overdoses are to blame, you see. That's, now, hey, I just took a whole bunch of fentanyl because it's so warm outside. And the heat index says it's going to be 107, even though my thermometer says it's 95, because my thermometer is lying to me. Don't trust your thermometer. So, honestly, this is an actual headline. July is the worst month for drug overdose deaths. Is heat to blame? An actual news story in an actual newspaper where they are given awards for coverage. Official drug overdose deaths in the L.A. and Los Angeles, California, increase in the summer. But public health officials acknowledge that heat-related deaths are probably being undercounted. You know what this reminds me of? When, remember that story out of Colorado where the coroner came forward and said that during the Wuhan Red Death out of Wuhan, communist China, and the Wu, everybody just calls it the Wu. So the Wu was killing people, and in, I think it was Boulder, Colorado, 3 people were shot and killed. They were shot and killed by a Democrat. And when they were shot and killed, they went to the coroners, and then they were doing an autopsy because they're counting the bullets in them that Democrats put there and stuff. And they said, hey, wait a minute, these 3 people have the Wu. They've got COVID. They got the COVID-19. And so they counted them as COVID deaths. They were shot. They were literally shot to death. You remember that story? You're looking for it right now. You found it? Am I right? Was it Boulder? It was Boulder? And it was 3 people? 2 had died of gunshot wounds. And then the coroner came out and said, this is ridiculous that we're counting these as COVID deaths. But this is how the Democrats do public policy and public health. And they fixed it with Obamacare. But then they all did fentanyl and severed their genitalia in their basements. And amazing stuff. The problem is only going to get worse as temperatures rise globally. This is, the politics of these people. Have you sent me that Colorado thing? Because that's a pretty amazing story. And this is what they're doing here. It's that all over again. Despite the dramatic reduction in L.A. drug overdose deaths, but you just said, in the last few years, there's a fly in the ointment. Why is it always a fly? Why is it With 1,894 drug-related deaths over the last decade, July was the deadliest single month for overdoses in L.A., according to county health department officials. Now, they're going to say, but wait a minute. July is warm because it's the summertime, and it could be the heat causing people to overdose on drugs. Isn't that amazing? So they politicize it just like these clowns did in Grand County. Amazing stuff. Coroner raises concern over deaths among COVID cases. Isn't that amazing? It's a remarkable story, and this one is, when is it from? It's from 2020, December 15th of 2020. Just amazing. Grand County, Colorado. Grand County coroner is calling attention to the way the state health department is classifying some deaths, just like the LA Times is doing over here. The coroner, Brenda Bach. Brenda Bach sounds like a woman, but who knows? Could be a Democrat man named Brenda. Life ain't easy for a boy named Brenda. Says 2 of their 5 deaths related to COVID were people who died of gunshot wounds. So this is what the Democrats do, and now they're doing it with the weather, because you know why? In the end, you know why? They want more money. That's to get more money. And amazing. So I have a memory that functions pretty well. And when I saw these stories today, I said, well, wait a minute, if I remember this correctly, amazing stuff. I remember just a few years ago when Forbes magazine, for example, had a story. This is in 2023. That's 2 years ago. It was July 20th of 2023, very close to exactly 2 years ago, if I'm doing my gazintas correctly. And here's the headline from Forbes. Excessive heat can kill, but extreme cold still causes many more fatalities. We should panic also. It's a panic for 4 seasons. We should have different panics for different seasons, I think. So print and digital media headlines worldwide tell the story of stubbornly persistent heat domes this summer. This is 2 summers ago, encompassing large parts of the continental U.S., Europe, and Asia. What about Africa, racists? Excessive heat can be very dangerous to human health. It can lead to potentially fatal conditions, such as heat exhaustion. I don't know, is that really a fatal, but okay. Which is exhibited with acute loss of water and salt through profuse sweating. Well, drink Gatorade. Why don't you? The patriarchy made Gatorade for you, so you should be okay. It can also cause heat stroke, which occurs when a body's temperature rises rapidly, blah, blah, blah. But never mind. Between 2000 and 2019, annual deaths from heat exposure increased globally. The 20-year period coincided with the Earth's warming, they say. This is what they say. About 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit. I've always been a little chilly anyway, so I'm okay with that. But it turns out that most fatalities occur among the elderly, and you should find air conditioning and all that. But it turns out that cold kills many more people in the United States and around the world, because cold is deadlier than heat. And, you get real cold, your teeth are chattering, and then you fall over, like a Monty Python thing. And then I went to Science Daily from 2015. Cold weather kills far more people than hot weather. It's Science Daily. They know what they're talking about. It's not like, the Daily Show. This is Science Daily. Remember Science before the Democrats murdered science? And listen to this from Science Daily. Cold weather kills 20 times as many people as hot weather, according to an international study. You got to believe it. It's an international study analyzing over 74 million deaths in 384 locations across 13 countries. The findings, published in The Lancet, a medical journal in the United Kingdom, also reveals that deaths due to moderately hot or cold weather substantially exceed those resulting from extreme heat waves and cold spells. Oh, it's also complicated, isn't it? Science. Next, you're going to tell me there are only 2 genders.
It is hot, and it's always hot. when I perform because the crowds are so big. These rooms were not designed for this kind of a crowd.
Well, no slam on anybody else, but I want to mention Scott from Gainesville called in and spoke to Jasmine. And Jasmine put Scott from Gainesville up on the big board. And Scott wanted to say, well, wait a minute. If it's going to be 95 degrees tomorrow in Washington, but they say with the heat index it's 107 degrees, which means your thermometer is wrong by 7 degrees. Because of the humidity, then if you go to Arizona, where there's no humidity, when it's 107 degrees in real temperature, but there's no humidity, shouldn't they say that it really feels like 95 degrees? But the answer is no, because it only accrues to the negative. You know, that's the Democrat Party. They politicize everything. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Matt calling from St. Louis, Missouri. Matthew, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. Happy Hump Day and Climatopia, and welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So the Democrats accidentally outsmarted themselves with their schizophrenia, and the unintended consequence, they caused climate change to transition. So for years, the fear and hysteria merchants terrorized us with talk of El Nino and La Nina. Well, now, thanks to the Democrats, El Nino and La Nina have become El Latinx, like Latinx. And then the Democrats wave they, them across the border in the HOV lane, bringing us blizzards, floods, tornadoes, wildfires, hurricanes, avalanches, droughts, and, of course, heat waves. And in further evidence of their schizophrenia, for years, the Democrats have been caterwauling about needing to stop global warming because the polar ice is melting.
Yeah.
Well, then in the next breath now they say, we want to abolish ice. So which is it? Do they want to save the ice or abolish ice? They use the word, but they don't know what they mean.
Wow, you packed in a lot of good stuff there. That was an action-packed call. That was a nice use of the word caterwauling, too, which ought to be more commonly used, more frequently used, I think. Good stuff. Yeah, they transitioned the weather. Matt, thank you.